Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a Saint Laurent Loulou size comparison video. I'm slowly getting through all of my video requests. I figured lockdown is as good a time as any, and this one was much requested. So I'm going through every size I have, listing the pros and cons, what can fit inside, as well as some mod shots as well. The sizes that I'm covering, I have my toy Loulou right here, which is the smallest. The next size up that I have is my small Loulou. I also have my medium Loulou. And then I'm also going to be including my Loulou Puffer just because I have been getting quite a few questions as to which I prefer between this and the regular Loulou. So I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get started. So as for the pros of the toy Loulou, there are several I could think of. First up, it's an adorable bag, and I do think that we have to mention the look because it's a really cute style, and the overall look of it I think is just so stunning. You know, you have the YSL logo there, the leather is extremely puffy and it feels very luxurious and good quality. And what I love about the leather is that even though you do have those core elements, it doesn't feel overly bulky when you wear it, and that isn't always the case. You know, sometimes when you have a very puffy leather, sometimes it can look a little bit bulky on, particularly when you're wearing it crossbody. That doesn't seem to be the case with this one. I can wear it crossbody comfortably. I just don't feel like it feels too big. So I love that, and I love the proportions. It's also a really good grab and go style. You know, it's not an overly complicated bag. There aren't too many bells and whistles, but it's a really great one to just grab and you don't have to think about it. It's easy just to sling on your shoulder. You can wear it crossbody. I think it's good for errand running, but I also think it's smart enough for a full day out. It just seems to kind of do it all with ease, and I really love just easy to wear but still very luxurious bags. It's also very comfortable to wear as well. You know, you do have that great leather strap, and the strap is adjustable, which I always love, but it's also very lightweight, which is always a huge bonus. The velvet one that I have is a tiny bit lighter, but this one, even though it is full leather, is still very light, so it's very comfortable to wear, and that's true even if you pack it with items. So the weight is always a big one for me, and this one is just so lightweight and comfy. And then finally, my last kind of big pro is the price point. This is still definitely a luxury bag, but it is priced under the £1,000 price mark. So this is now $880, I believe. Still absolutely very expensive, but I do think that you're getting a quality bag. And unfortunately, it's getting increasingly difficult to find very high-end luxury bags under the £1,000 price point. So the fact that this is definitely a major bonus. And as for the cons, I have two main ones I could think of. So the first one is the capacity. This is not a large bag, and I'm going to show you exactly what can fit inside later, but even though if you pack it in exactly the right way, you can fit a decent amount in, what I found is that when I do pack it full, it's not that easy to maneuver, so I can't really readily access items without taking everything out. And so for that reason, I tend not to pack it completely full, which again reduces the capacity. So you can't fit much in. I don't mind that so much because I can pare down my items when I need to, and I do like the fact that it can still fit in a wallet, but that is something to keep in mind, that it's not the largest bag, and especially if it's packed full, it's not that easy to maneuver. And then the other element you might want to consider is the fact that it has an all leather strap, and this is great for comfort, but if it was my choice, I would always choose to have a chain and leather strap, so kind of chain in the main bit and then a little leather bit for comfort, just because I think it's a little bit more versatile. And for me, a chain strap always makes it a little bit more dressy and so more suitable for evening. And this one, it's not an overly casual bag, I don't think, but the fact that it does have an all leather strap does make it a little bit more casual, so I would hesitate to use it for dinner for that reason. Next up is my Saint Laurent small Loulou, and I'm a huge fan of this bag, and I think it's a really nice size, and it wasn't the size that I was initially drawn to, but undoubtedly I think this one is now my favorite size. It does pack a ton, so even though it doesn't look like the largest bag, you can actually fit a lot inside, and unlike the toy Loulou, where you don't have a lot of space to maneuver, there is plenty of space to maneuver while still fitting in all the essentials you'll need, so I love it for that reason. I also love it for the versatility though, so again, unlike the toy Loulou, which has that all leather strap, I love the fact that you do have the chain and the leather strap mixed. So you still get the comfort of a leather strap, but you do have the dressier element of the chain, which I really like because I think it just makes a very nice transitional bag. I think it's good enough for day, you know, obviously not a work bag, but it's good for day because it can fit so much in, but it's also small enough to make a very nice evening bag, and I love the fact that it can do both. And leading moving on from that kind of evening bag point, the fact that it can fit so much is a great thing, because there aren't too many bags which are appropriate for evening, especially if you wanted kind of a very specific evening style where you can still fit a decent amount in. You know, often evening bags are definitely more on the smaller side, clutches and that sort of thing. But I mean, if it's raining and you live in London, so you take public transport, it's difficult to find a bag that's actually going to carry something, whereas this is plenty roomy to carry things like a small umbrella, but it's still suitable enough for evening, which I love. I do also really love the look of this one as well. I think it has a very classic look to it. Again, you get that beautiful quilted puffy look. You have the iconic YSL logo, and I just think it's a beautiful style, and I'm definitely a huge fan of flat bags, and I think this is a stunning one. And again, much like the Toy Loulou, this one is actually very, very lightweight as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You know, you get a beautiful quality bag, which is all leather. It's very, very versatile, but it's also very lightweight and comfy. And I just love this one to bits. As for the cons, I have three main ones I could think of. So the first one is I don't think it's as suitable for crossbody wear, and obviously this is going to depend on the individual and what you kind of like on you, but for me, I do feel like it feels a little bit bulky and just a little bit big to wear crossbody. I also don't love to wear it just with the single long chain. Again, it just feels a little bit too big and bulky for me, so I tend to mostly wear it just with the double strap, and I love it that way. It does sit quite low as well, so for me that is ideal. But for those of you who love to wear your bags crossbody, I don't think this is going to be for everyone just because of the size. The other con that sprang to mind was the size, and I actually really like the size. You know, the fact that it can fit so much and it is still quite a small bag is a good thing, but I do find myself preferring to wear it with lighter layers. You know, when I have tried to style it with chunkier layers, you know, if you have a sweater and a coat and a scarf, it can feel a little bit overwhelmed sometimes just because it's not the largest of bags. So I definitely prefer to style it with lighter layers, whether that's a dress or a sweater, rather than kind of really, really chunky, overwhelming layers. And then finally, my last con for this bag is the price. I do think it's quite expensive. It's £1,365 if I can remember that correctly. I will put US prices on screen because I definitely can't remember those off the top of my head, but it's a pricey bag. You know, it's not the biggest bag either, and it is quite a price jump from the Toy Loulou to the small Loulou, so that's definitely a con. I do think you're getting a quality bag though. I think it's a beautiful style, and I do think it looks quite classic, so it depends on your kind of tolerance for price, but it's definitely a pricey one, and I think it would probably be better if it was just a couple of £100 cheaper. That said, I don't think it's terrible value for money, but it's definitely a pricey one. Next up is my medium Loulou, and I have a bit more of a mixed opinion about this one. I don't feel like the size worked out as well for me, which is actually what prompted me to get the small, which I do love. That said, there are still plenty of pros to be had with this bag, and I'm gonna have to go back to the look because I think this bag really makes a statement. I think it is stunning. It looks incredibly luxurious, especially with the gold hardware. I think in this size, it just really, it makes a statement, and I think it is a stunning, stunning bag. So definitely the look of it I just think is so, so beautiful, and that is certainly a big pro for me. And linking to the look of the bag, I do think this makes for a very nice alternative to the Chanel Jumbo. Obviously it's not exactly the same bag, but you do have a lot of similar elements. It is a similar size for a start. It is a flat bag style, and you do also have that chain strap. And even though this is by no means cheap, this is $1,580 I believe, US price on screen. It's still a great deal cheaper than the Chanel Jumbo, and you are getting a very beautiful, very luxurious looking, and I do think pretty classic bag. And then my final kind of big pro for this bag is it fits an absolute ton, and I will show you how much later, but I couldn't even fill this bag full. That's how much it holds. So in terms of an everyday bag, as long as you didn't want to carry a laptop, unfortunately it can't fit a laptop, but for whatever else you needed, you know, a water bottle, an umbrella, sunglasses, purse, like everything else you'll be able to fit inside because it is that roomy. And as for cons, I do have quite a few. I think the bag is beautiful, but in terms of functionality, I do definitely have a few bugbears. The first one is the chain drop. I wish it had a much lower drop because it sits quite high on me, and for that reason, I don't find it the most comfortable bag to wear, just because I feel like I'm kind of squishing it. I feel like I have to put my arm out a bit, and I just don't love to wear this as a shoulder bag, and I usually love shoulder bags. I do think though it's going to depend on how tall you are, because my mum, who is 5'3", I think, she can wear this bag without any issues at all. I'm 5'7" though, and I do have that problem with it, so I definitely wish it had a longer chain drop. Much like my Chanel Jumbo, you know, I love the fact that it does sit lower, whereas this one it does sit quite high. My other con is the weight. I don't think this is the lightest of bags, and it's not overwhelmingly heavy at all, but you do have a very nice quality chain, and coupled with the fact that it is quite a large size, you know, you do get a lot of leather, you have that chain, and it being bigger, you might carry more as well. It can get a little bit heavy as well. It's nothing crazy bad, but it's definitely not a super light bag. My next con is the base, and I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it doesn't have the strongest base, and so when you kind of just pop it on your hand, it has the tendency to kind of rise up, and obviously if you have a lot of items that shouldn't be an issue, but I do wish that they had reinforced the bottom, because I do think that might be susceptible to wear and tear later on down the line, and because the small is much smaller, I don't think it's going to have that issue as much, or at least I hope not. So that is one thing I wish they had done. I do wish that it was just a little bit sturdier on the bottom. And then finally, the size, even though I do think it's a beautiful bag and it's a really great size for daytime, because it is so large, I don't know whether this would be a go-to for me for evening. You do have that beautiful chain which I mentioned earlier, but in terms of a really versatile bag which can go from day to evening, my pick would be the smaller one. This one is nice, but it can feel a little bit big with some evening outfits. And finally, I'm on to my Loulou Puffer. I love this bag, and if you watch any of my bag videos over the past 6 months, you may know how much I love it because I talk about it a lot, but it's a great bag, and I liked it when I first got it, but the more I used it, the more I fell in love with it. I feel like it's such a dark horse, you know, it's such a great style. In terms of the pros, I can think of many, but for me, a key one is kind of just the fact that it's a little bit different, and I think this could also possibly be a con for some people, because I do very much think that it's a love it or hate it style, but for me, I love it, you know, and lots of people told me it looked like a pillow, a bin liner, all kinds of things, but I think it looks really cool and I really enjoy the look of it, so that is definitely a pro for me. The other massive pro for me is the leather, and that's really only something that I think you will be able to fully appreciate if you feel it, but genuinely I've never felt leather this soft. Like, the feel of it is just incredible. It feels so supple and just really beautiful quality, but even though it feels incredibly soft, it's also so hard wearing, and I don't understand what they've done, because I feel like all bags should be made of this type of leather, but it is both incredibly soft and incredibly durable as well. I've used this so much and it's just done incredibly well. I have no scratches on it, and it's just a really easygoing, carefree bag for that reason. And then finally, my other really big pro for this bag is just how lightweight it is. It is so lightweight, and it's fully leather as well, so I'm not really sure why there's such a difference between this and the medium Loulou, but it is very lightweight. So even if you pack it full and it can fit in a very decent amount, it doesn't feel too overwhelming or too heavy. It really is just a grab and go style that you're not gonna have to think about. You're not gonna have to baby it. You can just pack it full and just be on your way and be super comfortable all day long. So as for the cons, I don't think it's without flaws, but one of the biggest ones I could think of was the fact that it curves in. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but certainly when you wear it on the shoulder, it has the tendency to kind of cave in a little bit, and I do think that's going to be, again, a love it or hate it kind of thing. My mum actually pointed out to me because she thought it was a flaw with the bag, and for me, I just kind of thought it was the design, so it didn't even occur to me to be bothered by it, but that might be a turn off for you. For me, it's not a big deal, but I can understand why some people might not like that. And the other big con for me is how versatile it is. Even though I love it and I've really enjoyed using it, I don't necessarily think this is going to be a go-to for me when it gets really hot. I live in London, so it never gets that hot here, but this really wouldn't be a pick for me with a nice summer dress or a summer outfit. For me, it's definitely more suited to autumn winter, and so for that, I do think it's a little bit more limited than perhaps some other styles, certainly the regular Loulou. And linked to the versatility is the price. This is the same price as the medium Loulou, whereas I think you could wear that one all year round without any issues. This one, again, it just feels a little bit more seasonal, and so for the price, it just is a little bit expensive for quite a seasonal bag. So I'm going to show you guys what can fit inside each bag, and I'm starting off with the largest, which is the medium Loulou. I'm going to fill it with items and show you exactly what can fit inside. So first up I have my Mulberry Darley wallet, which is quite a large long wallet, and it can fit in very easily in the front compartment. The front compartment is a tiny bit bigger than the back one, but there is still plenty of room. I have a small umbrella next. I have a sunglasses pouch with some sunglasses inside. I have my Louis Vuitton key holder. I have a hand cream. I have my phone. I have a small brush. I have a perfume. And I have a lipstick as well. And as you can see, there is still plenty of room. I have another compact wallet here, and obviously you wouldn't use two wallets at the same time, but you would even fit that in if you wanted to. There is just a lot of room. You could pop in a water bottle. I don't have a smaller one here, but you can fit in a very substantial amount. You can't fit in a laptop, unfortunately, but there is certainly plenty of room for all of your everyday items except for work documents and a laptop. And that is everything that can fit inside. Up next is my Saint Laurent Loulou Puffer. I have filled this one fairly full. There is still a little bit of room. It fits in pretty much the same as the medium Loulou, but unlike the medium Loulou, there are no compartments. And so it's just a big old wide open space. You do kind of have to rummage around. So I personally wouldn't fill it as full just because of that, because you'll just spend your whole life looking for items in this bag, but it can fit in a very decent amount. So inside I fit in pretty much the exact same amount of items. I have my hairbrush, perfume, lipstick, hand cream, Mulberry Darley wallet, sunglasses pouch, phone, umbrella, key holder, and mirror, and there was definitely room for a water bottle if you wanted to as well. So very similar indeed. It can still fit a very decent amount. Up next I have my Loulou in the small size, and this one I have packed pretty full. There isn't really any extra room, but I did manage to fit a lot of items in. To be honest, I probably wouldn't go this full just because you can see that the bag is distorting just a tiny bit there, but if you really had to, you could fit this amount in. As you can see, there is a lot. So inside I fit in a hairbrush, lipstick, perfume, mirror, keys, hand cream, phone, a compact wallet. I couldn't fit in my Mulberry Darley, it was just a tiny bit too long. I even fit in my umbrella as well. This is a mini one though, so obviously a larger umbrella you wouldn't be able to, but this mini size fits in just fine. And then also my sunglass pouch as well. So still a very decent amount. As I said, that is a little bit of a stretch, so I probably wouldn't want to carry all these items, but if you were in a bind, you could. And then finally I have my toy Loulou here, which I've also packed full. I did have to make some changes because obviously this is a much smaller bag. So I ditched the sunglass pouch, which is right here, and instead I just popped my sunglasses on top. I do also still have my hand cream. I have my little compact wallet. I fit in my phone, my mirror, my key holder, and my lipstick. So this is what can fit inside. I did have to miss out my perfume, a little hairbrush, obviously my sunglass pouch, and also an umbrella as well. But it can still fit in the essentials. These are the items I just picked as most kind of frequently used daily items. You could obviously swap those out accordingly. You do have to pack it quite cleverly though, so if you did want things to be a little bit freer, I think you would probably have to go a little bit more minimal than this. But that said, for quite a small bag, I don't think it's too bad. So first up is my toy Loulou, a really cute size. Good with denim, but good with dresses, skirts, anything really. Definitely a mini bag though. And this is what it looks like crossbody. And this is the small Loulou. This is how it looks just doubled up. It's very comfortable to wear, but it isn't the biggest, which is why it can sometimes look a little bit small when layered with really chunky items. But other than that, it is a really comfortable bag to wear just like this. And this is how it looks just with the single chain. I tend not to wear it like this just because I do think it sits quite low, and it also just looks a little bit big for my taste. And this is how it looks crossbody. Again, I don't tend to wear it like this just because I do feel like it looks a little bit big, but if you don't mind larger crossbody bags, then you could definitely wear it like this if you wanted to. And this is the medium Loulou. Really, really beautiful. Just on the shoulder. I do think this is a great size. I just wish that they had extended the chain drop just a little bit. You could wear this with the longer chain. Again, I tend not to. It just looks a little bit large for me, but if you don't mind larger bags, you could definitely wear it this way if you wanted to. And as a little size comparison, this is the medium, and then I have the small right here. So there is quite a sizable size difference between the two. And this is how they look just on the shoulder. The medium does sit a little bit higher, whereas the small, not only is it smaller, but it sits a little bit lower as well. And this is my Saint Laurent Loulou Puffer, a really nice size. This one looks a little bit smaller than my medium Loulou, and it sits very, very comfortably on the shoulder. The leather straps do mold after a bit of time. They are quite stiff when you first get them. They mold pretty quickly, and it's just a very, very lightweight, comfortable bag to wear. This is what it looks like just with the single chain, but as I mentioned, I mostly wear it doubled up. These are the two larger ones compared, so this is my medium Loulou and the Loulou Puffer, and this is them side by side. The medium Loulou again sits a tiny bit higher, but what really kind of comes into play is how bulky the top is. The medium Loulou is a lot bulkier than the Loulou Puffer, which is quite slim up at the top. So in conclusion, I thought I would go over what I consider to be my favourites. It might be kind of obvious, but I really do like them all. I would say that, and again, this probably won't come as any surprise, but the medium Loulou is probably my least favourite, which is kind of surprising to me because I thought when I got it, this would probably be my biggest favourite. I think that the look is just so stunning, and if you were just judging it based on look alone, I think this would win hands down, but the functional elements of me just kind of let it down. Again, I think that will come down to personal preference and how tall you are, but definitely the functionality and how comfortable I find it to wear lets it down for me, which is why it's not a style that I grab more often. In terms of my favourite, I would probably give it to my small Loulou, just because I do think it's kind of the best of all worlds. You know, it's small enough that you can team it with nice little summer dresses, but it still fits a lot. You can use it all year round, and I just think it's a really, really nice versatile size. But as you may have gathered, I'm also a huge fan of the Loulou Puffer. I think it's a beautiful style. I don't think it's necessarily one I would recommend if you were buying your first luxury bag, just because, again, the versatility issues. I think if you're buying your first luxury bag or your second, you're going to want something that you can use all year round, and I don't necessarily think this is that. But if you already have a few bags in your collection, I think this makes for a wonderful addition. I have really enjoyed mine, and it just very quickly became one of my favourites. And then my toy Loulou, I don't want to forget about this because I do think this is such a great style, and I'm so happy that I have an all leather one in my collection. I didn't kind of rank it any higher just because I love my other ones so much, but this is definitely a great style, and if you were in the market for a mini bag, I definitely think this is one to consider. The only things to keep in mind, as I mentioned, were the fact that with the all leather strap, I don't think it's quite as versatile. But again, if you're happy to have a more casual bag, or if you just didn't mind the all leather strap, I do think this is a really nice option, and I just think it's a very, very cute, adorable bag. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you found it useful. I hope I covered everything that you wanted to know, but if I missed anything out, or if you have any other questions, then leave me a comment down below and I will try and get back to you. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, please do give us a thumbs up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.